Hey, what is going on? Luke Hart here with the DM Lair. Tonight we have some fun stuff going on. We're going to be continuing the adventure creation that we began last Friday night. So if you want to check that out, there is a link down in the description to last Friday's live stream. Now, we went for about 4 hours last Friday getting the flesh and the meat and bones of this adventure worked out. So I don't think many people will want to watch all of that. It's probably not terribly interesting on the replay. So what we're going to do tonight is one of the first things I'm going to do here is I'm just going to kind of walk through the adventure that we've already created together and give you guys kind of an overview of what we have. And then what we're going to be doing is we are going to be getting in together and fleshing out the rest of this. Now, the whole idea here, guys, is that tonight is supposed to be an interactive experience, right? Where we're kind of going back and forth and you guys are giving me suggestions for like how we're going to do all of this. So that is the plan for tonight. And I'm going to walk through the adventure here. I'd like to see who all is around. So if you guys could give me a shout out, those who have joined us, that would be awesome. Just so I know I'm not here alone talking to myself, talking to the camera. The idea here, guys, is that that's not gonna work. I can't have like sound and stuff on there. Now I'm doing a new thing here. I have a new sort of live feed going on that I haven't tried out before. So I'm hoping this is working. It might not be. So I might be talking to myself this whole time so far. And because before I was able to see like how many people were on. Hey, Sleeping Shaman. All right. So I know at least someone's on. I'm not talking to myself. That's awesome. Bear with me, guys. I'm trying a new way of doing live stream here with a new setup. I haven't used it before, so it may or may not be totally working. All right. Paul's here. Awesome. Sweet. Cool. Just got home and catching up. Hey, we just began, Paul, so there shouldn't be a whole lot of catch up to do. We are still kind of beginning here. Sorry, guys. I want to see. There used to be a way before that I could see, like view on watch page. I don't even know what that means. I'm sorry, guys. Part of this is I'm still learning live streaming stuff, so I am trying to figure a few things out here. Because in the old view, I used to be able to see how many people were on. And the new view, it doesn't look like I can. So, yeah, just trying to figure that stuff out. So, got a couple people on though. I'm gonna start going through a couple things here in a moment. Sorry, this is a rocky start. Events. There we go. Yeah. Cool. I don't know. I'm not sure. This is annoying because I used to be able to tell how many people were on. Not that it like super matters, but like, it's good to know. It's good to know what's going on. Because at the old view, I could see people. I could totally see how many people are on. I'm getting hung up on this. You guys are all just like, Luke, stop going on about that. Nobody cares. Just get on with the show already. So whatever. I guess that's what we'll do. And that we'll figure it out later. There's got to be a way to know how to do that. Anyway, let's get on with the show. Let me pop over to the adventure. What I want to do is I want to walk through the adventure here just to show you guys what we've done so far, get people caught up. I know Sleeping Shaman, I'm pretty sure you were on last time with us. Paul, I seem to recall you being with us as well, so that is awesome. Let us take a look at what we have so far, though. So this is the Word document that we came up with. Now, if you want to, this is available for download currently down in the description. You can go into Google Drive and take a look at that if you wish. I download it. And but I got it up here, obviously. Now, once we're all done with this as well, I'm going to keep on updating the link, that same link to this updated document, like at the end of tonight's live stream, so that you guys can all have this adventure so that you can use it. So if you want to or whatever, or just use it for reference perhaps when you're creating your own adventures. But I'm hoping that we can finish this tonight. That is my goal. I do want to mention, though, that we are going to be doing a hard stop at 10 p.m. There is no negotiation. the last time I did this live stream, I had it in my mind that we were going to finish this, right? And so I was going from, we went to midnight, right? And I was like tanking toward the end of it. I was losing all of my energy and I was just out of it. I think the quality of what I was able to come up with you guys, like I was just kind of out of it. So tonight, we are going to 10 o'clock p.m. and then we're calling it a day, and we will finish what we can finish. If we can't get it done, that's fine. We will get it done the next time we stream or something. We don't have a whole lot left to go, I don't feel. So I'm pretty confident that we're going to be able to do this, though. Hey, true mate, what is going on? Cool. Glad you could make it, man. What time is it for you over where you are? Is it a little late? Are you from like Europe or something? I don't remember. Sorry. Some people have told me where they're from, other people haven't. I know there was one guy. There was one guy that was on last time with us who was from like, I don't know if he was from Germany or like, my cat's going crazy, but he was from Europe somewhere, and it was like 2, 3, 4 in the morning or something. And he I think he stuck with us through the very end, which was really cool. But tonight we are stopping at 10 p.m. So since we have a hard stop, I should probably stop babbling about that and actually get on with the show. So, what we got going on here? Let's just walk through the adventure here. I said it last time. The last time I said that, I took a sip of coffee and then I got distracted. All right, so we have a basic list of creatures here. We have a gnome commoner, ogre. These are creatures that as we kind of went along last time, we were just assembling a list here of the different creatures we have in the adventure. Which comes in very handy now that we are kind of giving a summary of what we came up with already. So we have Bronze Scouts. These are from Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. These are constructs. Both of these guys right here are constructs. We have a Shambling Mound. Very cool idea. A little backstory behind that guy and where he comes into the adventure. We have Ogre Jellies. Or like Ochre Jellies. I think that's a color. So yeah, it's a color. So I'm pretty sure it's ochre. And we have a Corrupted Ogre Shaman. We're going to be using the Anna's Hag stat block for that. True Mates from Wales. It's 1 a.m. That's awesome, man. Thanks for joining us. I can't stay up that late unless I'm like drinking lots of coffee. And blah, 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 blah. Now, as a reminder, this adventure we're creating is designed for 5 level 4 adventurers. So that's kind of our parameters there. Now, the party that I'm designing this for, I'm going to be using this in my own group, by the way. It is I call it the Wonder Pandas campaign that I run at work every Thursday at lunchtime. And I'm going to be using this adventure with them. Actually, they're very close to beginning this adventure, so we need to get this done. And there are 6 players in that group, but we're going to be designing this for 5 because I think that it's more usable that way for you folks or other people that might want to use this, because most groups don't have 6 players, I don't think. It's not my normal group size, but it's people at work, so I didn't want to say no, so I got 6 players. And it works well for absences anyway. If somebody doesn't show up, I still have 5, and then maybe 4, so it works okay. So the yellow stuff here, we have not decided yet. One of the things we're going to be doing tonight is we need to roll on the loot tables to see what kind of magic items we are going to be getting, and gold and all that kind of stuff. And usually what I do for rolling loot is I just go to the DMG and I go to the appropriate tables and I just roll dice and I see what it says. And a lot of times I come up with something cool. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'll browse through the the Dungeon Master Guide, and we'll just find some cool stuff. Other times I'll roll on the tables and I don't like the results, and I'll just roll again until I find something that I think is appropriate or cool or that I like. So I use them, but I don't necessarily like live by them, if that makes sense. So these are just the DM notes here. I'm not going to read through every last little thing that's on the screen here. That would take us too long. I'm just trying to give an overview here. The main storyline is that the gnomes, there's this gnome village, and they were infected by these mysterious black flecks, some sort of like, living organism that like gets into you and corrupts you and whatnot. Because the whole backdrop of this is that the players and their characters are going to be fighting corrupted evil gnomes. And part of the whole thing for this is that they were once good gnomes that were corrupted, and part of the moral quandary here for the players as they're playing this adventure is, are they just going to kill all the gnomes, or are they going to try to find a way to cure them? And there's a little yeah, I'm about to talk about that. So anyway, the heroes are going to travel from Lamelty, that's the name of a town in the setting that I run, to Round Hill. Round Hill is the name of the gnome community, with Pit and Pop and a delegation of gnomes. Now, Pit and Pop is one of our NPCs, which is mentioned down here below, and then they're going to discover their corrupted gnome village. So they're actually, the characters are going to be traveling with a bunch of gnomes when they come upon this corrupted gnome village. And that's the basic storyline of what's going to happen. Now, this is, like I said, this is for an ongoing campaign that I'm already running, and this is what they're currently doing. And so I kind of know exactly what is leading up to this whole incident. And that might not always be true for you guys. If you're like happen to run this for your own games, you might have to think of a different way to like work it in to your campaign or whatnot. But for my campaign, I know how that's all going down. So there we go. Princess K is in the house. Hello, Princess K. Hey, she's got like angry, upset, like evil faces. I don't know what that means. Princess K is one of my patrons. Thank you, Princess K, for showing up. Princess K brings a lot to the table. She is very aggressive. She advocates for killing PCs and killing players. So we're going to have to try to, keep her in check tonight. But welcome, Princess K. Good to see you. Locations we got going on here. Round Hill is the name of the gnome village, and you can see, I'm not going to read every last little thing here, but this gnome village is known for alchemy, which is cool because the gnomes are going to be throwing like potions and stuff that will have these awesome effects that we've already rolled for. We'll get to those in a second. Just some basic information about, and as we're kind of going through this, guys, this is the way I design almost all of the adventures that I run. I kind of go through here, just kind of fleshing out all of these details. Josh, dude, what is up, Josh? Welcome. Josh, I was waiting for you to arrive because I have something that I want to show you. All right, so there's like a drum roll type thing, and check this bad boy out. Actually, let me pop over to full camera mode. There we go. Check this bad boy out. So this is a webcam. I know you guys know what this is, but I did not have a webcam. I was broadcasting live from my phone, and the quality was horrible, I must say. And so currently I have a borrowed webcam, and now I'm gonna have my own webcam. Thanks to Josh. He is hooking me up. I totally appreciate that. And not only a webcam, this dude is freaking sweet. This is a laptop. I got it today, Josh. It came today. I went to check my P.O. box and whatnot, and now I have a HP laptop. This dude is awesome. He built this thing from scratch, from like components lying around his house. Now I got to fire it up, Josh. I turned it on and it started up. It started up super fast. I don't know if this thing has like a solid state drive in it or something, but that was a very fast startup. All I was able to do tonight was like open it and start it up, but it was looking pretty cool. So I will get to playing around with that thing for sure soon. I just want to give you a big thank you for hooking me up with those things, man. This is really cool. You have no idea how much I appreciate that, man. For sure. Josh has a permanent extended invitation to join any of my games if he ever happens to be in the Michigan area. He will be in my games, and he will have like a get out of death free card, which I don't give very often. So there you go. That means something. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. All right. So let's get rocking and rolling with what we're talking about here after I get a sip of coffee. All right, sweetness. PCs are talked about here. Now, Rudaldor Muncher is the leader of Round Hill. Pit and Pop Greenfeet, which my players call Puddin' Pop because they like to corrupt the names. Any name I come up with, they immediately corrupt it and call the NPC something different. I don't know if this is a tradition. Oh, sweet. So Josh says it's a 500 gigabyte SSD. 16 gigabytes of RAM. Dude, that is better than my PC that I'm running everything on. That's nuts. Yeah, I think you sent me the stats in the Discord, and I was like looking at it, I'm like, holy crap, this is better than my computer. So that is awesome, man. Wow. I've only had a laptop once in my life before, and that was like years ago. I bought this like cheap old piece of junk when I went down to Honduras. I was down in Honduras for a while as a missionary, and I took a laptop with me. And it was a piece of junk, and this thing though has got me excited. I'm looking forward to this bad boy. One of our NPCs too are sentient black flecks. I don't know why we put those as NPCs, but apparently they're NPCs. So we had decided last Friday that this is a sentient virus that corrupts living things, slowly turning flesh to metal. Oh, I forgot to switch back to my other screen. Bam, there we go. That's going to be helpful for us so that you guys can see what I'm looking at. So we were corrupting living things with these black flecks, and we decided that what they do is they slowly turn you to metal. So we had and that kind of plays into some other things that we got going on later in the adventure, because organisms that have been corrupted with these black flecks are water damages them in the same way that water would like rust metal or something. And so that is an important point that we came up with last Friday. Random encounters, we actually made random encounters. They're down a little bit. I didn't update the document apparently, but we'll get to that at some point here. So we have a corruption mechanic. We've been talking about these black flecks that corrupt people, and so there is a mechanic here. If you're exposed to these things, you can make a wisdom save, it looks like, or a constitution save, and then if you're corrupted, there are mechanics that like you can be, you have to make a save or you fight on the side of black flecks. And you can prevent corruption. We came up with a mechanic that if you're covered in water, you have wet clothes on, that you're immune to corruption. It doesn't cure the corruption, though. The enemies in this story, they're wielding weapons that are laced with black flecks. And so if you get hit by one of these, you could become corrupted. So we have that. We also have a cleansing mechanic. There is a herb in the area, the local area, that cures the corruption, and there is a garden in the center of the gnome village where that herb grows, and the players might have the opportunity, well, they will have the opportunity to find that and cultivate it and come up with a cure for people. And so we built that into the adventure as well. If gnomes are... So all the gnomes are evil and corrupted at the outset, but if the players encounter gnomes and come up with a cure and cure them, then they will become non-hostile and they'll be willing to help them, but they're not combatants, right? So they're probably not going to want to rush into battle. So, and then we have some gnomish potions. I'm just trying to set the stage here so we know what we're doing for the live stream. Otherwise, I feel that we will all be lost. Well, I won't be, because I read it already, but some of us might if you weren't able to make it last time. Let's see. TrueMate says, pudding pop auto thought black pudding. Okay, yep. I'm not sure I understand that. Sorry. All right, Josh says, just my way of saying that I 100% support your content. Keep up the outstanding work. Thanks, Josh. I appreciate it, man. Like, I mean, I don't know how much this sort of laptop would cost, but probably like $1,000 or something. So that's great, dude. That's about the best support I'm probably ever gonna get. I appreciate it, man. You rock. Gnomish potions. So I'm curious too how big of a delay there is between like my reading your stuff and my talking. So if anybody can calculate what kind of delay you think we got going on here, I'd be interested to know how bad it is, just out of curiosity. I have a feeling that it's a bit, so we'll see. Gnomish potions. So what we did, guys, is we brainstormed a list of different effects that potions would have. Now, remember, the thing is that the gnomes are going to be throwing potions. Some of the gnomes will be potion throwers. And when they're throwing these potions at the PCs, there are different effects the potions can have. And so we brainstormed a list of different effects they could have. Petrification, a sticky potion, a slippery potion, a blinding potion, nauseating potion, potion of radiance, slowing potion, poison cloud, potion of euphoria, sleep potion, fire blast potion, electric cloud potion. There, I've just proved to you that I can read. Most of these potions replicate spell effects, and their DCs are mostly 12. We had a whole conversation about how, the save DC of 12 being something spectacular, I guess. And now, if you defeat gnomes and loot them, we had decided that a gnome has 1d3 potions on his person when looted. Just a random way to determine how many potions are on a gnome. And we decided too that the players are able to use these potions against other creatures if they want to as well. And so we have that. And we chose 1d3 because we wanted to choose something more complicated to roll at the table. My understanding is that in like earlier editions of D&D, when you would get the adventures and stuff like that, they wouldn't even tell you what dice to roll. They would just give you a number range. They would say like, 1 to 18, right? And you would have to figure out that that means like 3d6. Well, that would be 3 to 18. Anyway, but we're going to make it slightly less complicated than that, but we'll still try to make it a little bit abnormal. All right, keep it rolling here. Oh, we did have a mechanic that if you loot a potion, they're unlabeled, and the players must roll a d12 when using a potion to determine what it is. So the players won't know what the potions are. So it's a little bit of a mystery, right? You're going to loot some potions, but you don't know what they do, and so you just throw them and you find out. So a little bit different. Or a little bit more difficult for them to actually loot or use what they loot. It'll make it interesting. It's kind of like the Wand of Wonders, if you guys are familiar with that. I gave the Wand of Wonders to my Manus Invictus group. Sorry, I had something in my mouth. I gave the Wand of Wonders to my Manus Invictus group, and the dude refused to ever use it. He's like, I'm never using this thing. There's too high of a chance it's going to do something horrible to us. And so I think they used it once, and that was because that player was gone and somebody else was running his PC and was like, this is fun. And so he was using it. But anyway, that is a tangent. All right, here we go. Let's keep it rolling. Okay, inciting action. So one of the things you want to have when you have an adventure is an inciting action, which is how the adventure kicks off, how it all gets going. And here, like we've talked about, the heroes are already traveling south. They have a designated meeting with some dark elves, who a lot of them believe the dark elves are good. Some of them suspect they're evil, but that's mostly because they're metagaming, in my opinion, because all of the PCs are from a different world where dark elves do not exist. So they have no reason to think the dark elves are evil. But, and it's yet to be determined whether they are evil or not. They might be good dark elves, they might be bad, and they might be using the PCs for bad purposes, or they might just be good-natured dark elves at the surface. We don't know. We'll find out. They will find out at some point in the future. Now, when they meet the dark elves are going to tell them that something evil is happening in the gnomish village, and the gnomes are going to request that they go help people. I feel like I got to talk through this a lot faster or skip some of these details. Otherwise, we're not going to get to the actual adventure creation stuff. Entering the village. So when they go into the village, there are houses. They're going to start exploring. They have to find out what's going on in the village. And so there are stone defenders in some of the houses. There is a chance of them being there. After the stone defenders are going to try to make an alarm. And if the alarm goes off, then an ogre patrol will arrive. Now the gnomes, on these ogre patrols, the gnomes will be riding on the back of the ogre patrols. There's a little wooden platform on each ogre that carries 2 gnomes, and the gnomes will be throwing potions and stuff like that. So this will be, a stone defender, which if we go over to Morning Canaan's Tome of Foes, we will recall, if I can find it. There we go. Let's zoom out just a little bit for us. There we go. Stone Defender is this bad boy right here. This Stone Defender is going to emit a warning cry that will alert this Ogre Patrol. The Ogre Patrol will come with gnomes throwing potions and stuff. That will be their first little couple encounters in the adventure. At that point, there will be an opportunity to explore the adventure, explore the village. They're going to be looking for gnomes. They're going to be looking for clues. I imagine they're going to be investigating things. And so there is a random chance of different things happening. More stone defenders in the little houses. That's what they're called. And there could be some gnome guards and gnome scouts that attack with longbows. There's a chance for more of the ogres with the gnome potion throwers. So there's some chat over here. Sleeping Shaman says, unlabeled potions. I'm 100% sure that one of the players will drink it. Yes. That's interesting. I wonder what the mechanic would be if the player drinks it. That might be just one of the things that, okay, so now let's go up there, Sleeping Shaman. You brought up a very good point. And if we don't deal with it now, we will probably not be able to deal with it. So, if a character drinks a potion, the DM should use his discretion as to what the effect is. There we go. DM note. Bam. All right, we have added our first little piece to the adventure today. Thanks, Sleeping Shaman. Very good point you brought up. Let's skip back down to exploring the safe house. So after a while of exploring the village and having some encounters, they're going to come upon a safe house. This is basically a house that has not been corrupted. They're going to find a couple NPCs inside, Jennifer and her husband Franklin, and they're going to have an opportunity there to get some information about what's going on. It's at this point that the heroes will find out that what is causing the corruption, that there were some giants that arrived a little bit ago, and they had massive piles of black ooze with them, and this is what started it all. And part of the point, too, is they're going to find out that there is an herb in town that will, that these two healers' house has not been, mid-sentence. Swap Master Flex, what's going on, dude? Sorry I'm late, he says, was doing prep for my West Marches game tonight. Awesome, man. That's cool. Sleeping Shaman says, magical, colorful diarrhea. Yeah, dude, that's, I don't know. As an effect from the potion. Yeah, that'd be funny. Anyway, glad you could make us Swap Master Flex. So while they're doing this information gathering, they're going to find out that there's this herb. This herb that's in their house is what's keeping their house from being corrupted. And so the players are going to be like, we need to go get some more of this herb so that we can, counter the corruption in the village and uncorrupt the gnomes that are corrupted. And so that leads us into our next scene. The village healers, Jenny and Franklin, are going to tell them that over in this garden, they were growing some of this herb. And so the players are going to go over to this garden to get the herb. Would be how we would imagine it playing out. Now, obviously, we're creating sort of a framework here of what we imagine would happen. We never can really predict what the players are going to do. They might just say, screw it, and start slaughtering everybody. You never know. But this is kind of what we imagine would happen. And obviously, as with any Dungeons & Dragons game, the DM is probably going to have to improvise a lot and figure things out on the fly as he goes. But with adventure creation, you have to imagine something to prepare something, right? And then that will give you a base upon which to improvise when you're actually running it at your table. So, over in this garden, there is a shambling mound that appears to be just corrupted vegetation. It will rise up, of course, and attack them, as shambling mounds are wont to do. We should have a lightning storm going on during this battle. And, because I believe that shambling mounds are healed by electrical damage. Let us find out. I just had an idea. I had an idea to make that battle even more interesting. So, let's go find Shambling Mound, and we shall zoom in a little bit. This is what a Shambling Mound looks like. Really, really cool art on that bad boy. A Shambling Mound can grab you and suck you inside of it. Very fun. That happened once in one of the games I was in, and somebody died. It was cool. I was a player. I wasn't the DM. I was a player. I think it's funny. As a player, I don't mind dying. I think it's fun. That's the way it is. That's the way the game is. Some people don't like dying. They don't like when their PCs die. To me, it's just part of the game. It's part of the fun, and I just wrote up a new PC that I'm usually excited about. So, anyway, Shambling Mound, Lightning Absorption. Whenever the Shambling Mound is subjected to lightning damage, it takes no damage and regains a number of hit points equal to the lightning damage dealt. So, we are going to change our adventure slightly. We want to say that entering the village. The gnome village is deadly quiet when describe a storm rolling in with dark clouds and lightning. There we go. So back when they enter the village, we want to set the stage. We want to set the ambiance for there being a storm that's rolling in. And this is going to be, it'll set the stage for this corruption and creepiness too, perhaps. But what that does is later on, after they've done a bunch of things and we finally get to the garden, that gives us the whole backstory of there being a storm, so that when they're fighting the Shambling Mound and the lightning strikes down, then it might hit the Shambling Mound. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to create a little thing here. Dun 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 dun. We're going to do something called encounter notes. I do this for a lot of my encounters, and no spacing, enter, unbold, make that normal. Sorry, I'm a writer by profession, and so when I get to writing stuff, I'm very picky about formatting and stuff. As you can see, probably by this document, it looks neat and orderly. That is my failure, falling flaw, I guess. Whatever. Encounter notes. Let's rock and roll. So let's say, what I want to say is, during this encounter, there is a chance we'll say that every round, lightning strikes nearby, and we'll roll a die, and on certain results, lightning will either strike the shambling mound, healing it, or lightning will strike one of the PCs, doing damage to them. And so we're just going to do a little mechanic here. Let me know in the comments what you think the probability should be for all that stuff happening too, as I'm kind of typing here, because I'm interesting. I wonder how frequently like people should be able to get hit by lightning, and how often we should heal the shambling mound, because this is for a party level 4 PCs, and a shambling mound is a CR5. That's not a problem. They will destroy this thing pretty handily. So I'm not too concerned about adding lightning damage to them. Paul had a comment about the potions. He said, roll a 1d6, a 2 to 6, they can use it as a breath attack. On a 1, they destroy whatever clothes or armor is covering their butt. That's a great, man. I will add that comment in, Paul, because that's funny. We will say here DM note blah 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 blah, and then we'll say suggestion. Bam, there we go. That's awesome, dude. There, we'll leave that there for now. They destroy on a 1. I'm gonna tone that down a little bit. I think that's hilarious, but we'll say that on a 1, the DM, the imbiber, suffers the effects of the potion. I almost feel like there's a higher probability of them actually suffering the effects of that potion if they try to imbibe it than being able to use it as a breath weapon. So I'm going to say that if it's a 4 to 6, they can use it as a breath attack. On a 1 to 3, they suffer the effects of the potion. So let's do that. I think that's... Oh, I didn't want to do that. That's a little bit more balanced, perhaps. Whatever. That's good enough. All right, let's get back to where we were at. Down here. We were at the garden. We were going to have some lightning possibly strike this shambling mound. So, as the battle begins, lightning begins to strike the area. One bolt every round. Roll on the below table to determine who is struck. There we go. Bam. Now let's get ourselves a little bit of a table going on here. Table. Boom, 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 boom. There we go. Do we need that? We probably don't need that. What should we say? We should say something like, there's a chance it doesn't strike anybody, right? So we'll say a 1 to 2. 1 to 2. No one is struck. We'll say that on a 3, a PC determined randomly is struck. And we will say that on a 4 to a 6, the shambling mound is struck. And I'm intentionally making the probability of striking the shambling mound much higher, because I think that is a cool little, what do you want to call it, effect for us to have. I don't want to do that. There we go. There we go. There we go. And we got to say what we're going to roll on that table. So we're going to say roll a 1d6 and consult the below table to determine who is struck. There we go. That's cool. And then we'll say a lightning bolt deals... Now, we're dealing with level 4 characters, so we don't want to have it deal tons of damage because, you know, we don't want to kill them outright. So it shouldn't be like 8D. I feel that 8D 6 damage, like the average lightning bolt damage, might be a whole lot. Oh, you know what? Swan Master Flex, you are totally right. He says, my only complaint is that a lightning storm has rain with it. And the whole point of this business is water equals bad. You're so right. So water deals damage to these corrupted things. Okay? So let's say that... So water can't fall on them. If water falls on them, then it's just going to kill all the corruption, right? So I would imagine this corruption somehow has something that prevents rain from falling on top of it. So, because there are going to be storms that come over the forest. And if a storm with rain comes over the forest, then it's going to totally like kill the corruption. So that's a bad mechanic. The corruption would have to have a way of preventing rain from falling on it. So let's imagine that the corruption has a mechanism by which it like evaporates water before it can actually fall on it, or it prevents like rainstorms from coming in. A busted lamppost is sparking. I think what we're gonna do, you bring up a really good point. I think what we're gonna do, man, is we're gonna say that we're gonna go back up to entering the village. Describe a storm rolling in with dark clouds and lightning. The storm oddly has no rain. No, let's just say, let's just say there's no rain. Yeah, the storm has no rain. We'll say that. And we need to do, I mean, there's got to be a mechanic. We'll say, let's just make a DM note. We'll do it right here. DM note. The corrupted area of the forest prevents natural phenomenon. Trying to spell that word. I totally failed on spelling that word. Wow. Prevents natural phenomenon from occurring that produces rain. Or water. Water. We'll say water. There we go. That's kind of like a little workaround. If that seems a little weird, then, you know, you guys can, you know, cut that out or whatever. I just thought it would be fun to have a mechanic where lightning strikes the shambling mound. So, yeah, maybe they have so Paul says maybe they have a shield so lightning gets through but not rain. They could then destroy the source of the shield, a gazebo. Yeah, they could. It could be some sort of magical field too. That could be it. The corrupted area of the forest prevents natural phenomena from... Let's just say the corrupted area of the forest prevents rain from passing through via a magical force field. some sort of magical force field. I don't know if that totally makes sense, guys. I mean, it's a magical world, so you can imagine that if there is a corruption, a sentient corruption that knows it's susceptible to rain, that it's going to have some way to prevent rain from falling on it. And so I don't think that it's, you know, crazy that it would somehow have some magic that prevents rain from falling on it. It has like a dome. So we'll say that as rain falls, it hits this magical dome and rolls away from the corrupted area. There we go. We'll say that for now. There might be a better way to do this if we had more time to really think it through. Just for the sake of moving on, though, we'll just say that. We bring up some good points, guys. Thanks for bringing that to my attention. I totally forgot that rain on these things would be bad. But I think we have a workaround that at least keeps that safe, or that mechanic safe. All right, so now we have the shambling mound, we have lightning falling on it, and it's in this place of the garden that we have a non-corrupted area where this herb called yagamaki grows. They're going to be able to cultivate that, and they're going to make a cure out of it. We said that whatever method they decide to make the cure is going to work, and so we have that. Oh, hey, look at that. Look who's joining the live stream. Squeaky. Squeaky's in the house. He'll stay up here for a while and hang out with us. All right. This is kind of where we left off, guys. So we that was our 40-minute or so summary of what's actually going on in the adventure. So we left off finding the ogre shaman. So the players had done a bunch of fighting. They had found this cure, and they have it from the garden. And now we're kind of envisioning how this adventure is going to begin to end. And one of the first things they're going to do is they're going to find out about this ogre shaman. And we said that after getting the herbs from the garden, the PCs fight one more encounter during which the gnomes flee and lead the PCs back to the ogre shaman lair. If that doesn't work, find another way to lead the gnomes to the shaman lair. This might be through investigation or other means, such as following tracks, stealth following patrols, interrogating a cured gnome, etc. I mean, we basically leave it up to the DM, right? The DM knows that the players eventually need to find the ogre shaman, and so the DM will use his discretion and improvisation to lead them back there. But this is kind of where we left off, guys, and this is where I really want you guys to start chiming in with ideas for what we can do here with this shaman lair. We had imagined that this corrupted ogre shaman was an Annis hag. So let's pop over to there. Oh, you know what? I did not. Stand by. I will pull up Volo's Guide to Monsters, because that is where the Annis hag is. Takes a few clicks. Takes a few clicks because computer doesn't know to open stuff when I double click. So I got to double click twice on stuff. Hey, look at that. We already have it up. Awesome. So here's our Annis hag. And you can see it's like a CR6. So now here's the thing. If we're envisioning that they're going to fight this Annis hag, it's 2,300 experience points. And stand by. So if we have 5, this is the encounter calculator that I use, guys. So if we have 5 players, and I'm gonna zoom in just a little bit on this, so the screen, your guys' screen looks a little better. So we have 5 characters, and they are level 4. We will calculate their thresholds, and then we have one Annis hag, which is 2,300 experience points. There is one of them, and we calculate it. You guys can see that this is saying that the difficulty is hard. However, this is a phenomenon with probably most editions of D&D, but especially 5th edition. If you put a solo boss against a group of players, in this case 5 of them, they will demolish this boss in like 1 or 2 rounds, no problem whatsoever. This will have 0 difficulty. I mean, it says hard, but this will be a pushover. Solo boss fights are usually very uninteresting, so we definitely have to spice this up somehow. Now, the Annis hag has some spellcasting abilities. The spellcasting abilities are pretty lackluster, in my opinion. It can cast Disguise Self, which can do a little bit of misleading and stuff like that. But when it all comes down to it, the Annis hag, Fog Cloud is going to make it so that nobody can see, because Fog Cloud is heavy obscurement. Which doesn't really help anything too much in a fight unless you can see through the fog cloud, which the Annis hag cannot. And so really all the Annis hag comes down to, you guys, is a big boss with hit points, armor class, and damage that it can do. And so we definitely want to make this Annis hag more interesting, whether that means giving her special abilities or giving her spells or something like that. So, hey, 4 Elemental, what's going on, man? Glad you could make it. We definitely need to spice this Annis hag up. So imagine we're using the stat block of an Annis hag, but we're imagining this as a massive corrupted ogre or giant, right, that we want to pit our heroes against. So we need to do something with this. Spells would be great. We could give it like legendary actions and legendary resistances and stuff like that, which I think is probably going to be necessary. Other ideas though, guys. Oh, the Annis hag should be able to control the flecks. Absolutely. I think we had imagined that there's an outer chamber before they get to the Annis hag. We will get back to that in a second. We're on the roll with the Annis hag. So let's imagine some more information about the Annis hag. So we need to do encounter notes for the Annis hag. And I think one of the first things that I want to do with the Annis hag is we need to give it legendary actions, right? I'm calling it the Annis Hag, but it's actually the Ogre Shaman. So the Ogre Shaman has 3 legendary actions. What should the legendary actions be? 1, 2, 3. Look, we need to determine what those are. So if you have ideas for... My cat's crawling all over the place. If you have ideas for legendary actions, now obviously legendary actions could be things like attacking or moving, but I want there to be some sort of special abilities for this Annis Hag. And I really want you guys to give me some ideas here, because I don't want to be the one creating all of this stuff. I think what we came up with so many great ideas together last time. I'm pretty sure you guys all have more creativity than I do. So please chime in the chat. Let me know what you think some of the abilities, some of the special abilities should be for this Ogre Shaman. And let me see. You know, I'm also caught up in the chat, which usually doesn't happen. Usually I'm like a half an hour behind the chat. So, oh, the flex is the Annis Hag's armor. That's a great idea, dude. I love it. So the Annis Hag is covered. So what we need to do is, that's a great idea. We're going to have some game mechanics for that. I have an idea in mind of what we're going to do with that. But we need to have a description of this Annis Hag, this Ogre Shaman, so that we're gonna write some read aloud text, so that when the person running the game has like a really good description, the DM can just read this off if he wants to describe it to the players. So, let's see, read aloud text. Ogre Shaman description. Bam. And then let's go for our, where's my read aloud text? There we go. And we'll say, you see before you a tall, hulking creature. Hulking creature? Hulking creature with scraggly hair. Swarming black flecks cover the beast and become agitated in your presence. We'll say, you see before you a hulking creature with scraggly hair that towers let's say it's about 12 feet tall. That towers some 12 feet above you. We'll say that stands about 12 feet tall. There we go. Swarming black flecks cover the beast and become agitated in your presence. Awesome. So we got this big creature, scraggly hair, super tall, swarming black flecks. All right, sweet. And the black flecks will serve as his armor. Scraggly long hair. Yeah, all right, scraggly long hair. Awesome. And let me see. So we will say, so we need to have like alternate stat blocks. Oh, you know what? Here we go. Look at this. We already began creating some stat blocks for our corrupted ogre boss, and it is the corrupted ogre shaman. So per Annis Hag with the following changes. So what we want to do is, I want there to be a mechanic so that if you attack the Annis Hag, if you attack the corrupted ogre shaman, these black flecks, if you're within like 5 feet, the black flecks will like burst out at you in like a cloud and possibly corrupt you. And so we're gonna write a mechanic for that. So there is something like this fire. So fire, we're gonna reference the monster manual real quick, because fire elementals have something like this that we can probably just steal. We can steal the wording for it and make it our own. I think they did. Water susceptibility, fire form. I thought this had it, or was it somebody else that had it? Somebody had a mechanic like that. It might not have been. It might not have been the fire elemental. I thought that if you attacked it. Oh, here we go. Yeah, it is right here. All right, stand by. Stand by. Stand by. A creature that touches the elemental or hits it with a melee attack while within 5 feet of it takes blah, 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 blah. Fire damage. So I'm just going to copy that And we'll kind of come over here, and we're going to paste that. And notice that I do this a lot, guys. When I'm creating stuff, I steal and modify from other creatures that already exist, because this makes our job much easier than creating stuff from scratch. So a creature that attacks, that touches, whoa, my cat's angry, the ogre, shaman, or hits it with a melee attack while within 5 feet of it, is subjected to the corruption mechanic as black flecks spray out at it. There we go. Awesome. And the corruption mechanic, basically, you must make a wisdom save, right? Or you must make a constitution save or be corrupted. And then you must make a wisdom save at the start of each of your turns in combat or fight on the side of the black flecks. So, I believe somebody said something like, the Ennis Hag, yeah, I know, my cat is over here going meowing. He's got food, he's got water, he's just grouchy, I don't know what to say. Squeaky's being good, though. Squeaky's just, that's the wrong side. Squeaky's just sitting up here relaxing. We'll give you guys a close-up of Squeaky. How we doing? There we go. Check Squeaky out. A lot of times when I'm down here just working on stuff, he comes back here and sometimes he like gets down behind me and like squeezes between the back of the chair and me. I don't know what's wrong with him. He's a little weird. He has to follow me everywhere though. So the corruption mechanic. Now we want to say down with our corrupted ogre shaman that this is, we'll call this like black fleck armor, something like that. There we go. And for this one, we will say corruption control. There we go. And we will say that the shaman can control any creature that is corrupted, forcing it to fight on its side. And then I think we had said something about how this right here, I'm just gonna copy paste this down here to make this super clear for us. And we will say a corrupted creature must make a DC 12 wisdom save at the start of each of its turns in combat or fight on the side of the shaman. There we go. So if you attack this thing, you can get corrupted, and if you're corrupted, the shaman can force you to fight on its side in battle. So that right there will be an interesting mechanic already. I imagine the fighters are going to start going up and swinging at this thing and hitting it, and these black flecks are going to be like, and the DM can describe this, like going all over them, trying to corrupt them, crawling and swarming into their orifices and whatnot. That could be very freaky. Players will like not want to attack in melee at this point, but the shaman is going to keep coming up probably to them and doing stuff. So this would be a very dramatic, cool moment, I think. So I really like this. I still feel we need to spice this guy up some more, because that's going to be cool and that's going to be something there, but we need something more that the shaman can do to make him more deadly in combat. Ooh, nice. I like that. So 4 Elemental says, instead of the flex turning living organisms into metal, why not it turns them into clockwork? Yeah, I like that. Let's go up and change that. Corruption mechanic. I think we had that somewhere. We had that somewhere up in our storyline. Slowly turning flesh to metal, resulting in the creature turning into a clockwork construction under the control of the, what do you want to call it? The corrupted ogre shaman. There we go. Bam. Oh, that's one of our NPCs too. So, you know, we should probably add the Corrupted Ogre Shaman up here. Corrupted Ogre Shaman. Per Annis Hag stats. And then it arrived. I don't know. We had some details. I don't want to get too derailed. This should probably be like, you know, we should probably, I'm going to highlight this so that I know to come finish this at some point. I don't want to get too derailed, but we should probably, because the Corrupted Ogre Shaman is one of our important NPCs, we probably want to put a few sentences here that describe him up at the very beginning of the adventure. That way when people read it, they can kind of get a good overview of things. But I don't want to spend too much time there. So let's pop back down to the Corrupted Ogre Shaman. We're trying to come up with some interesting mechanics for it. Now up here in the inner chamber, there we go. Encounter, I'm going to take these legendary actions here and we're going to put them down here with this stuff. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to say encounter notes, see Corrupted Ogre Shaman stat block for more information. There we go. That'll get the job done. And then we come over here and we had legendary actions that we wanted to have for this, and we had a suggestion from 4Elemental. He said that as a legendary action it can summon black flecks blobs 2 per day. Yes, we're definitely doing that. And we had a mechanic too for the black flecks. That was in our outer chamber. The black flecks are basically using the ochre jelly stats. So we will call them black fleck blobs. And let's do something here. Let's make another little thing here. Black fleck blobs. We'll just use that for now. And we will say per ochre jelly stats with following changes. At some point we might want to do a couple things with that. So that's just kind of a holding spot there. The first thing it can do is summon a black fleck blob that fights on its side. There we go. Good. Legendary action. I think as a legendary action, we definitely want to allow the... has 3 legendary actions, choosing from the following options. We don't actually have to have 3 options. We can have as many or as few options as we want for legendary actions. So there we go. 4Elemental says, as the water destroys the armor, you can use the black fleck blobs to repair the armor and heal the ogre with temporary hit points. I love it. That's a great idea. We're going to work that in here. Let's see. Oh, that could be one of its legendary actions. Yeah, let's do that. There should be a mechanic, so it can summon a black fleck blob that fights on its side. Hold on, stand by. I got a cat running around by the power strip. That's a bad idea. He can summon a black fleck blob that fights on its side, and there needs to be a limit to this. Somebody said 2 per day. I like that. Because here's the thing. 2 per day, or let's say that it can have a maximum of 2 at a time. Let's not put a maximum number that it can summon, because here's the thing. Any boss fight is probably only going to last about 3 or maybe 4 rounds, and then it's over with. So if we just say that it can only have a maximum number at a time, that pretty much imposes a limit of like maybe 2 or 4 anyway. So let's go with that. That way we're not putting like a maximum per day type thing on it. The shaman can only have 2 blobs summoned at a time. There we go. And this is, oh, you know what we're going to do? We're going to say that, oh my gosh, I'm freaking out here. This cat, sorry, it's freaking me out. He's literally walking right where the power strip is. And I kid you not, I have had this dude, I've been like video editing and like everything goes black. And it's because he steps on the power button and turns everything off. So like anytime when I feel a cat down there, I just start freaking out. Especially during a live stream. Not cool. That was squeaky. He should have just stayed up in the back here. Anyway, moving on. While I was saying something about, he doesn't summon a black fleck blob. He like regurgitates a black fleck blob, because that would be a really cool descriptive thing where the DM is describing to them. He just starts like, and then this black fleck blob just kind of comes out, right, and then starts fighting on his side. The players. I would totally do this to my players. I know some of them would be like, and I would be like acting out the whole like, you guys get the point. All right, moving on. Some of you are like, this is disgusting. So anyway, let's type that in. He regurgitates a black fleck blob. All right, sweet. Swammaster Flex says, I zip tied my power strip to the desk higher up to keep my kitty off from it. Zip tied, yeah. You know what, dude? I can do that. I actually have little holes on parts of it that I can do that. I got to do that. I totally got to do that. Great idea, man. It sure beats me having to like frantically, get cats off from it. All right. So somebody had another suggestion too. Offensive phlegm. Yes. I like that. Offensive phlegm. The shaman regurgitates. There we go. I love it. That's great. See, that's what I'm talking about. You guys have such better ideas than I come up with. And somebody had another comment too. 4 Elementals said that as the water destroys the armor, you can use the black slug. Oh yeah, to repair it. That's right. We were about to do that. What should we say to this? Blah, blah, blah. The shaman can absorb a black fleck blob, causing it to swarm over its body and granting it a number of temporary hit points equal to half of the black fleck blob's hit points. There we go. Let's go with that. Does that sound about right? This might need some playtesting to see how, because we don't want this thing to be able to heal itself so quickly that the players can't damage it either, right? So this is one of those mechanics that probably we should think through and do some playtesting and figure out if it's way too powerful of a healing mechanic. Because you don't want to have your boss like invulnerable, right? There should be a little bit of like, oh crap, he's healing himself. That's not cool, but not so much that you're just like, we might as well give up. So that bears some playtesting, I think. But it's a good idea. I like that mechanic. That's the sort of cool mechanic that we definitely in a boss fight we want to incorporate into a boss fight. So I really, really like that. Defensive fleb. We'll call it defensive fleb. Yes, defensive phlegm. Awesome. Great. I love it. That's really cool. This is like a really cool custom monster, you guys. I like this a lot. This is really sweet. All right. Some more options. I mean, obviously, if we're doing legendary actions, I mean, we should always have the option to the shaman can attack. And then the shaman can move. Those are just basic options that I always like to have available to monsters as legendary actions. Because being able to move around on the battlefield is huge, especially if you're using grids and minis. And being able to attack is an obvious legendary action. So those are really cool. I like those. What I would like to see, guys, are some special abilities that our shaman can do, or some spells it can cast. And you know what? Let's think of, what I'd like to do is think of some spells that it could cast, but then make it as a special ability. I don't want the spells to be able to be countered. Like, the third level, is it a third level spell, counter spell? I don't know that the players would have that yet. But let's just make it a special ability that it just creates an effect, instead of actually casting a spell.
But you know what? Casting the spell kind of makes sense because it is an ogre shaman. So maybe that's not such a bad thing. I don't know. What do you guys think? Fleb. You want it to be Fleb? Okay. Offensive Fleb? Why Fleb? 4 elemental. Enlighten me. What is the difference between calling it Phlegm and Fleb? Because I don't know what the distinction is. I mean, I trust you that there is one, and there's a reason you want it to be Fleb. Just let me know. Yeah, Paul says I can put a box on the floor next to me. Yeah, I could do that. I could do that. I think at one point when I had a different computer desk, I actually had a box over top of the power strip so that the cats couldn't step on it. But I like the zip tie would work as well, or maybe some little like baggy ties or something. But anyway, yeah, I'll get that figured out because I don't like cats messing with me, especially not during a live stream. So, all right. So the 4 elemental says the shaman should be able to summon and attack with a black flecks sword using a black flecks blob. That's a cool idea. I like that. Swapmaster Flex says a spell with an attack bonus would be solid, like a negative energy bolt. I agree. What kind of spell? Like, I don't know that negative. Although we could just make up some mechanics. That's true. We can base it off from a spell as well. 4 elemental says phlegm sounds like out, and fleb is body because I can call flat fleb. All right, dude. I'm gonna roll with it. We'll call it defensive fleb. What did we say? Somebody said something about a black flex sword. Yeah. So let's go back up to the description of the corrupted shaman in the outer chamber. And it carries... Hold on a second. Do we want it to have a sword? It's kind of like a shaman type thing. I'm kind of envisioning... And we were envisioning the shaman like... using a kettle. He's brewing more corruption in a black kettle. So I don't know if we want to paint him as a melee type. I almost figure he is almost more like a spellcasting type. Think of a witch or a warlock or something like that. But not in like a warlock in the D&D sense necessarily, but just like of a witch type thing. So I don't know that I want to give it a sword. I'd rather have it doing magical stuff or something. So let's see. What can we do? What else? What other kind of spell effects can it have? I like the whole negative energy bolt. So it's a spoon. Yes, a spoon because the shaman is stirring this black kettle, and so the shaman is going to have a big, huge wooden spoon because when they come upon him, he pulls the spoon out of the kettle. Right? And then he can use this spoon as like a wand or a club or something. I like that idea. That's cool. All right. So anyway, the shaman can use the following special abilities. Now, at some point, obviously, we should reformat these things and put them into an actual stat block like we have here. This might be something that I do offline just to make this look a little bit better. I don't think we need to do this during the live stream because that's a little bit fiddly and noodly and takes a lot of time. But eventually, we should actually format this in a more normal way. But anyway, shaman can use the following special abilities. Somebody had something about a negative energy bolt. I like that idea. Negative energy bolt. And then Swordmaster Flex says it is +8 to hit, ranged attack, 45 feet range, 1d4 plus spellcasting modifier. Okay, let's copy that. Bam. And range attack, and we're gonna say that it has a I want to make it be 120 feet range. I'm kind of imagining it is similar to the Warlock's Eldritch Blast, and I think that has 120 feet range. And for damage, now this is what we're going to do here. If it's going to use the negative energy bolt, and so when we're customizing some special abilities, and what we want to do, guys, is if we go over to Volo's Guide to Monsters, what we basically need it to do, if it's going to cast this negative energy bolt, that negative energy bolt needs to do roughly the same amount of damage as if it were to use one of its other attacks here. Because if it doesn't, then that attack option is going to be significantly weaker than other things it has available to it. And if it's using the weaker attack option, that will affect the challenge rating and stuff like that. So really we're just going to take a look here and see what it says. And I don't think you guys can see that. It's not zoomed in nearly enough. But you guys can see, that's too much, perhaps. Come on, baby. You can do it. There we go. It's +8 to hit. It does about 15 damage for here. Now it says the Anise can make 3 attacks, 1 with her bite and 2 with her claws. So I think that it would be able to shoot out 3 of these negative energy bolts. Kind of like an Eldritch Blast, where you shoot out 3 of them, pick different targets if you want to. And each one of them should do, that's how much damage it's going to do. We're just going to copy that. And we're going to come on over here. And each bolt deals 15, 3d6 plus 5 negative energy damage. Does that sound about right? Negative energy bolt. The shaman fires 3 blasts. 3 bolts. Similar, we'll just say similar to the Eldritch Blast. Eldritch Blast or Eldritch Bolt? I think it's called Eldritch Bolt, isn't it? Eldritch Bolt spell. There we go. There we go. I think that works. That should work. That way it's dealing about as much, if it's using this ranged blast, it's dealing about as much damage as if it were attacking in melee. So I like that. Okay, that's one special ability. What other special? I almost feel like it needs some sort of area of effect. Okay, because what's going to happen invariably, right, is the PCs, you're probably going to have about 3 melee PCs, let's imagine, 2 that are ranged PCs. And the melees are going to gather around the shaman and just start beating on it, right? So I imagine if we had some sort of area of effect thing, that would be really cool as well. So some sort of area of effect thing that will do some damage, or maybe do some damage and also impose some sort of effect. Maybe it like entangles them or, slows them down. Maybe the shaman kind of draws within himself and explodes outward, and all these little black flecks cover anybody within 10 feet or something, and do some damage, obviously, but also maybe it slows them down for 1 round or something, and it takes away their reactions so that the shaman can slip away and get farther away without them having opportunity attacks. That's an idea. Something like that might work. Oh yeah, we had talked about some sort of, it does sleaze damage. Eldritch Blast. It is called Eldritch Blast? Ah, yes, it is. Eldritch Blast. See, you'd almost think that I don't play this game. Because Eldritch Blast is the spell that everybody wants. Everybody splashes 2 Warlock, to get Eldritch Blast, which is one of the most powerful spells in the game. And I don't even know the name of it. I'm out of coffee. That's okay, because I have water. There we go. Bam. All right, rock and roll. So we're at 9:15. So we got 45 minutes more to work on this. And this is really cool. I think we got some really cool stuff going on here. We're really fleshing out this ogre shaman. So we need to do something with that spoon, that ladle. I like that idea. So guys, I want this ogre shaman to be wielding that ladle, but there needs to be some sort of special thing that it can do with that ladle. So give me some ideas in the chat. What are things it could do with that ladle that would be some sort of other special ability that we can give it? Because that would be really cool. I don't have any ideas. While I'm typing out this area of effect idea, brainstorm for me in the chat, will you, about what that ladle can do. All right, let's see. Black fleck. What would that call? When you explode outward, a black fleck. What would that be? Explosion? When you explode outward, what would that be called? An explosion, Luke. It's an explosion. The
Shaman causes black flecks to explode outward from it in a... What kind of radius is appropriate? I don't want it to be super huge. I don't want it to get like everybody, but just the melees. So I think a 10-foot radius is reasonable in a 10-foot radius. Creatures in that area must... I almost want to make this a saving throw. This feels like a dexterity saving throw to avoid getting hit by these things. So let's call it a dexterity saving throw. Dexterity saving throw. Creatures in that area take... How much damage should it be? If it should be the same amount of damage, let's say 10d6. Let's just say 10d6 damage. Take 10d6. Wait, is that a lot? No, that's way too much. That's way too much. Because it can deal... So it can average out 45 points of damage to a single target. So we don't want it to be able to do that much damage to multiple targets. That would be way more powerful. We don't want to do that. So we actually, I think that's actually reasonable. If it deals this much damage, 15 points of damage to 3 targets, let's say, that is about how we would want that to work out as far as like balancing the monster and all that kind of stuff. So creatures in that area take 15 negative energy damage. Damage is halved if they make a DC. What should the DC be for this? Let's make this a little higher. Maybe like a DC 13. That's a lot higher. Wait, what are the save DCs for the Annis Hag? Yep. The save DC is 13 for the Annis Hag in her like stat block. So I think that's reasonable that we can go with that as the save DC. So, hey Josh, are you still with us, man? Are you like at work? So you can't like be chatting and stuff? I'm just curious if you're following along, man. What was I doing? I was in the middle of something. Oh yeah, the saving throw. The damage is halved if they make a DC 13 saving throw. And the damage is halved and they are not restrained if they make blah, blah, blah. Creatures in the area take that much negative energy damage and are restrained for 1 round. There we go. Let's say that. Are restrained until the beginning of the shaman's next turn. There we go. That's a better mechanic to write in. That's much clearer. Cool. There we go. The ladle. All right. Did you guys have some ideas for the ladle? Let's see. Knuckle thump, save or drop. What is held? Ladle summoner. Oh my gosh. I created a pastamancer. A pastamancer. That's awesome, dude. Scoop and throw players. Huh. But its armor class decreases significantly. Wait, Paul had an idea back here. He said that a black petal swarm kind of trapped in a dust devil until something to get out or fight it off, maybe like a mini maze spell. I'm not sure what your suggestion is, man. If you want to clarify on what you mean by that, that'd be awesome. I'm not getting it offhand. Sorry. Scoop and throw players. Also maybe able to lob blobs out of the cauldron and maybe evaporate water. It should not be able to use fog cloud because of its water. I agree, 4 elemental. It cannot cast that. I agree. Let's make that change. The shaman can cast. Let's say darkness. Let's say darkness instead of fog cloud. There we go. There. That way it still has something that it can do. And bam. All right, good point. What can it do with this ladle? I think I like the idea of the ladle create. Oh, that's what it can do. So we have the offensive. The offensive phlegm. So yeah, the following special abilities. Let's do that. So let's say that ladle attack. If you guys got a better idea, a better suggestion for ladle attack than that. So we will say that the shaman can use the ladle to scoop black flecks out of the cauldron and hurl them at a creature. The creature is subjected to the corruption mechanic. And I think we already have that detailed up here, what the corruption mechanic is. You have to make a Constitution save. So whatever creature will have to make a Constitution save or be corrupted. There we go. I like it. Awesome. So we got some good ideas here for this shaman. I almost feel like we should move on from the shaman. I think we got lots of good stuff here. If you guys got more ideas for the shaman, let me know. But I think we have a pretty cool boss fight worked up for the shaman. I wonder, was he here? John. I'm wondering if John is still here. I think he was here at the very beginning. Was he here? Oh, he was supposed to be here. John said he was going to be here tonight. He's the guy. We write weird stuff. And he told me today he was going to be here. So we shall see. So Paul says the swarm of petals swirls around them so they can't do anything. It could keep them out of combat for a number of rounds. What petals? I got you. So there's a black petal swarm like a dust devil. Yeah, so that's a possibility. How do we do that mechanic? They can't do anything for a couple rounds. It can affect several people. It's like stalling the party, like you said earlier. It lets the ogre get some breathing room. Okay, yeah, let's do that. I like that. What we're gonna do is special ability, black. Oh, that's cool. Swammaster Flex. We're gonna be ending at 10 o'clock, which is about a half an hour from now anyway. So we'll be ending this whole show at that point anyway. So black fleck swarm, and we will say the shaman creates a swarm of black flecks. And what I want to do is we're gonna make this black fleck swarm basically mimic the web spell so that it kind of like restrains players and creates difficult terrain. That way we don't have to like create actual mechanics for it. But I like the idea of this like swarm of black flecks that is hindering the player's movement and keeping them kind of pinned down. It functions per the web spell, but doesn't require, what do you want to call it? Concentration. Awesome. There we go. This serves to pin the PCs down so the shaman can reposition itself. There we go. That's the idea behind all of that. It gets the ogre some breathing room. I think that captures the intent of what you were talking about. Awesome. If they get caught in it. Paul says like cherry blossoms but black swirling around. Yeah. All right, cool. There we go. We got that. What I want to do, you guys, is I think we need to create we need to create some black fleck blobs here. These guys need to have some different stats. We had kind of envisioned them similar to the ochre jelly. Let's see if I can find that. Where is that? Oozes. Um, ochre jelly. So the black fleck blobs, we were going to use the stat block of an ochre jelly. Should it do anything else? Should it have a different ability or a special mechanic? Maybe not make it too complicated, but a little bit something different. So let's start thinking about what we could do to customize the ochre jelly to make it a little bit more interesting than it currently is. I mean, currently an ochre jelly basically can climb, and it has a pseudopod that can attack you, and if you attack it with lightning or a slashing attack, it can split into different jellies. But let's have it do some sort of special effect as well. So let's start brainstorming what that special effect will be for the... And I know we don't need to flesh this out like so complicated, so crazy, like that we did the Ogre Shaman. Just like one special thing that it can do to differentiate it. And then once we get that made, what we didn't... There are some chambers and stuff where we actually encounter these things. We need to flesh those out. I think if we can try to get those fleshed out in the next half hour, we'll have made some really good progress tonight. And then we'll probably not finish everything up, but we'll get very, very close. So what I'd like you guys to start doing is start brainstorming like what we could do for these ochre jellies to make them a little bit more interesting, the black fleck blobs. And we're going to take a short intermission. I'm going to run to the bathroom real quick, and we will be back in just a little bit to continue this whole shindig. All right, and we're back. So I hope you guys enjoyed the graphic. That's my cat Tay. She only weighs about maybe 7 pounds, and so we have quite a few cats. We took a bunch of strays off the street. We adopted a family of cats, and Tay was not part of that family. But that family of cats, they are all like quite large cats, and Tay is like
half their size or smaller, and she has all of them terrified of her. She'll just run them around the house like she owns the place. So she is a little maniac, but she is totally adorable, and she crawls into this little tiny box all the time. She loves it. So anyway, let's keep rocking and rolling here. Let's see. It looks like some people got some good initiative rolls. So Fort Soul Zero, what's going on? Glad you could make it. Have you been lurking the entire time? And Uncle Estevan got a 12. So Fort Soul Zero, you won initiative. What kind of mechanic are black fleck blobs going to do to people? We need something special for these guys. Right now, all they can do is do damage. And they do some bludgeoning damage, and they do some acid damage. And I think that is kind of lame. We want something more interesting for these things. We have been throwing around this corruption mechanic a whole lot. I would rather these do something different than corrupt a player. What if they had a possession mechanic? Ooh, there's an idea. So what I'm thinking, you guys, is there is a ghost in the monster manual that has a possession mechanic. And let's find the ghost. Where is the ghost? The ghost. Oh, Josh says he's going to roll up a tabaxi rogue named Tay-Tay. Mischief is her game. Absolutely, dude. That'd be awesome. Swammaster Flex says, what happened to the slow and cast suggestion? Is that what we said for the Black Flex last time we played, or last time we made this? That they would be able to cast slow and cast suggestion? Was that for the Black Flex? Or was that for like what do you want to call it? The Ogre Shaman. I think that was for the Black Flex, wasn't it? Well, what I was thinking, Swan Master, is the Black Flex would use this possession mechanic that ghosts have, and they could like swarm inside somebody's like orifices, like their mouth, their ears, their nose, like swarm inside somebody and basically take possession of that person. So as opposed to like casting, because here's the thing, if they're actually casting something like slow or suggestion, those are technically concentration spells, and they could get that interrupted pretty easily. So I'm almost thinking I want to roll with this possession mechanic, but they could cast those as well. So basically, we gotta like pick some of these things. There we go. I mean, we're just gonna we want to use this stuff right here. That's the mechanic. I don't want to copy paste all of that, but we'll just kind of type this up real quick here. As an action, the black fleck, we'll just say the blob. The blob can attempt to enter a creature's body via its orifices. Oh my gosh. Orifices. This is... Oh, I got it right. I got it right? No way. My spelling is horrible. As an action, the blob can attempt to enter a creature's body via its orifices to take control of the creature. The creature must succeed on a DC. I mean, I don't want to make this too terribly hard. I also wonder what kind of save this should be. It's not a charisma save per the ghost spell. It's either a save to prevent it from getting inside your orifices, or it's some sort of will save or constitution save, something like that. It's like a wisdom save to prevent from being, or maybe like a dexterity save or something like that. It's one of those things. I don't know what it should be. What do you guys think? We should just pick one. I'm gonna pick one, but let me know if something else makes sense. What kind of save makes sense to prevent either you're preventing it from getting inside you, or you're preventing it from taking control of you. I think you would most likely be trying to prevent it from getting inside of you. So let's say it's a dexterity save. I'm open to different ideas though. Dexterity save, or be possessed by the blob and under its control. Awesome. Love it. And then, yeah, I think that's it. And then there needs to be a DC something. DC 12, dexterity save. The blob controls possessed creatures. Yeah. I don't know how else we would describe that. What are the mechanics for this guy? A con save to throw up, you have to fail though. I think people would want to automatically or like intentionally try to fail that. I know my players would be like, can I intentionally fail? Can I just try to chuck it up? So I know my players would immediately ask me that. All right. This is what I'm looking for. It otherwise uses the possessed target statistics, but doesn't gain access to the target's knowledge, class features, or proficiencies. And there we go. Let's just copy that stuff over. That's the easiest way to do this stuff. Whoa, push the wrong button. Totally pushed the wrong button there. There we go. There's some possession mechanics. It uses the blob uses the possessed target statistics, but doesn't gain access to the target's knowledge, class features, or proficiencies. The possession lasts until the body drops to 0 hit points. The blob ends it as a bonus action, or the blob is forced out by, and here we'll say, a successful constitution, by a successful DC, we'll say 12, constitution save, which a possessed creature makes at the end of each of its turns. There we go. When the possession ends, the blob is regurgitated in an unoccupied space within 5 feet of the body. There we go. So, whose suggestion was that? For Elemental, there you go. Your suggestion to be able to regurgitate it has been incorporated. There we go. I like it. Let's see what we got going on in the chat. Swapmaster Flex says, I feel like we talked about the possession mechanic being too much of a death spiral, and that caused a one-round possession or suggestion was a less extreme mechanic. Yeah, you're right. The trick is going to be not to... Oh, that's a good point. Dun, 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 dun. You got a good point. That is a death spiral. We don't want it to be too much of a death spiral because... And we talked about that last week. You have a good point. I remember that now. Because there are going to be these black fleck blobs fighting with the ogre shaman. And if we have... Let's say that there are 2 players that get possessed by these things. Now you're going to have, 3 characters fighting their own allies and the ogre shaman. And yeah, that could be a death spiral. I totally agree with you. And these are level 4 PCs, so that might be a little too overpowered. We probably want to pull back on that a little bit. Let's see what else we got going on here. But that may have been what I came up with when I transferred the mechanic over to my game. No, but I think you still have a point. I think you have a very good point, Swanmaster. So let's see how we can scale that back a little bit so that it's not quite... Maybe the... Let me see.
This could be something where the DM uses his discretion to not use this if things are going really poorly against the party. Or we could just mechanically scale it back a little bit so that it's not quite as powerful. My gosh. What? Look at him. He's sitting over there. He's literally sitting over there on his food bucket. And I'm pretty sure he has food and water. So I don't know what his problem is. He's just over there going crazy. I should all right, hold on. I'm going to go make sure he has food. So here we go. Intermission time. All right, there we go. I gave him some food and rubbed his belly, so he should be quiet, maybe, for a little bit. All right. Four Elemental says, quick question, how to get a greater restoration for a 3rd level party? You have to buy it. You got to buy it. You're going to have to find an NPC who can cast that spell. I would go to major temples and churches. Probably you're going to have to make a donation to them or perhaps do some sort of service to them that would convince them to cast it on you. But Greater Restoration is I want to say it's a 5th level spell. So it is not something that's going to be super cheap or easy to come by. So there you go. Quick answer. Yeah, let's just... what I want to do, I think what I want to do, Swamp Master Flex, is let's just make a DM note. I frequently do this as a Dungeon Master when I'm running an encounter. If things are going very poorly against the players and I'm not trying, I don't want them to die, I'm not actually... Here's the thing. I usually don't try to TPK people unless they made a really bad choice. And, if I'm just designing encounters, I don't necessarily want it to be super overpowered to kill them. And so as a Dungeon Master, if I see something is going really awry against the players, then I can just kind of scale back a little bit. I can pull back a little bit on the encounter so that I don't just destroy them all. And so that's just a little bit of discretion on the part of the DM. And so I think that the DM can exercise that discretion with the Black Fleck Blobs as well. So we're going to make a DM note. When using the blobs, use your discretion with the possession ability. Discretion. If things are going poorly for the characters, consider not possessing them. Or have the blob voluntarily exit a possessed character. There. Something like that. Something that the DM can just kind of exercise his own good judgment when he is kind of running the encounter. So, but I agree with you. I totally agree with you that we don't want a death spiral. This is one of the things, Swan Master, I think, this is one of the reasons that we would want to playtest this, right? To see how powerful this is. Because we're just creating this up, imagining that it's going to work, but it might not. It might be way too powerful. It might not be that bad. I mean, it might be, a DC 12 dex save. Most players have a, 50% or 40% chance at least to make it, right? And then once they get possessed by it, they could regurgitate it every round, So, because each turn, the player is going to be able to get a chance to regurgitate it. So that might not be too bad. We'll see. I think a playtest is definitely necessary for that sort of thing. So, good points, though. I like it. All right, we have some different stats for the Black Fleck Blobs. I like it. What I want to do now, guys, we got 15 minutes left. And let me see what we got here. We got some comments here. Oh, yeah, we could do something like that. You could do something like that. You could say that when a possessed creature drops to half hit points, the blob
the blob. So if you're at half hit points, you're taking wounds and stuff. We'll say that the blob it like flows out of the wounds or something and is no longer able to possess it or something. Longer able to possess the creature. Flowing out of the wounds. And we're going to call that optional. I'm just going to put a little optional flag here as something that's a mechanic the DM can use at his discretion. So we got about 15 minutes left, guys, and we're definitely ending this. And what I want to do here, we're probably going to have to do this at a different point in the future. We're going to need to roll for loot on the table, and we should create a map as well for this. And we have like this outer chamber. So there's this like underground lair, basically. Sorry, there's a lot of coffee. We have this underground lair that the adventurers are going to go into, and they're going to encounter, at some point in this lair, they're going to have this outer chamber that contains 2 piles of black flecks that are clinging to the ceiling. The black fleck piles, we call these blobs. 2 black fleck blobs. Black fleck blobs that are clinging to the ceiling. The black fleck blobs drop on the first living creatures to walk underneath them. There we go. I mean, that's just a simple encounter. There we go. And then we had in the inner chamber, so there's going to be some sort of like dungeon mechanic or dungeon map where there's this outer chamber where they get attacked by black fleck blobs, and then they're going to come into an inner chamber where you have the ogre shaman, and well, we need a map. I mean, we do not have time tonight to actually create the map, but we should do that. I usually use campaign cartographer to, well, no, I should restate that. I use graph paper to create my maps. Like when I'm actually running my games at my tables, I'll just use graph paper, and I'll draw it out by hand because it is by far the fastest and easiest way for me to make a quick map. However, I currently don't have a way to show you me drawing on graph paper. However, I did get a gift of another camera here, which I can probably get this camera on like an arm that will point down, and then I can actually show you the map I'm drawing. So we might do that the next time we get together to do adventure creation, because I have campaign cartographer. Like I could show it up and pull it up and show it to you. The thing is that it takes a while to get things to look the right way and all that kind of stuff, and I don't want to really fiddle around too much with like the mechanics of a tool and stuff like that. So we definitely need to make a map. But there's like an outer chamber, and then there's an inner chamber where this shaman is going to be. And I wonder if we need any more details here. There's like a cauldron in there. We need to have some stuff in this room. So this inner chamber that the shaman is in there, we need to have some description of like what's in that chamber with the shaman. We know there's a black cauldron in there, but there's got to be other things in there. The shaman is working to create a brew that would corrupt more creatures. We need a trap. We need a trap. You're right. We need a trap. I mean, yeah, the blobs, yeah, you're right. For Elemental, you're right. The blobs are kind of like traps because you walk underneath them and they fall on them. But I agree with for Swamp Master Flex. I want like a legitimate actual like trap, you know, in this adventure. Because, I mean, really, what adventure is complete without a trap? So we should definitely create some sort of trap. I'm going to create a note here, trap. At some point, we're probably going to have to do this next week. It won't be next week. Sorry. Let me rephrase that. We'll have to do this the next time we get together to do adventure creation. But it won't be next week. I have plans next week. And then I think Thanksgiving is the week after that. So I'm not sure that anything will happen then. I also want to do some more of like the hangouts and question and answer stuff as well. I don't want to always be doing adventure creation. So we'll see how that goes. But I definitely want to create some sort of trap. Create some sort of trap. And we're going to highlight that so I know to come back to it. So I don't know when we're going to get back to actually finishing this, because we do have some things kind of pending still, for sure. So let me see what we got going on in the chat here. Shelves full of really gross stuff. We need shelving. Yep. Yeah, that is an ambush. We need a trap. Yeah, I agree. That's like an ambush. Those things are like ambushing. Yeah, I would like to have a legitimate like trap at some point. And the dungeon area I think is the right place to have a trap. Because, traps are cool. One trap per adventure is probably a good idea, I think, in most cases. Rotten deer livers. All right, so the inner chamber. What kind of things are in the inner chamber? So we have shelving. All right, shelving, and we'll say the shelves contain an assortment of jars, and what else would it have? A bunch of jars that would have stuff in them, and packages wrapped in rotting leather, rotting animal hides. There we go. The jars contain I like rotting deer livers. So, what would we say? The jars contain animal parts, such as rotten deer liver. Very, very specific example. I like that. All right. And somebody else had an idea too. What's wrapped in the animal hides? Something has to be wrapped in the animal hides. The animal hides contain, so there are animal parts. What would be in the animal hides? Somebody give me an idea for what's going to be in the animal hides. And I'm going to start reading a description of the room. So the room description is, where is this bad boy? Come on, baby. There we go. Room description. Okay, wait. Oh, sidetracked. 4 Elemental says he has an idea, an ambush trap where the shaman made a totem to distract the PC so some black flep blobs can get the drop on them. Okay, dude. I think we have that. But we could add some sort of like totem in the middle of the room. Oh yeah, I like that. That's a good idea. We're gonna change the parameters a little bit of our ambush here. So you see in the middle of a we'll say 20. We'll say you see in the middle of a small chamber a large wooden totem pole with an assortment, with a variety of carvings covering it. There we go. Now, and then we got to detail that. So we'll say the totem pole, the carvings. I always like to have some description because the players are almost assuredly going to walk up to the totem pole to investigate it and see what it says and see what the carvings are and stuff like that. So we want to have some like description of that. So the carvings depict, what would they carve? I mean, depict creatures of the forest, such as, what kind of creatures of the forest? Such as elves, gnomes, and pixies. Such as elves, gnomes, and pixies under attack by swarms of black flecks and large giants. Yeah, there we go. There we go. There's some description for you. Because what's going to happen is they're going to go up to investigate it, and then the 2 black flecks are going to attack them. While the PCs are investigating the totem, 2 black fleck blobs that are clinging to the ceiling drop on them. There we go. And then we can get rid of this stuff. There we go. That is a much better room, actually, to have in an adventure. Before, it was just kind of like empty and uninteresting. So now we actually have it looking somewhat respectable. So I like that. Boom. And we need some sort of trap. Tripwire, Dragon's Breath, Fierce Mushroom. What is going on, Fierce? Well, I'll tell you what, Fierce. As you can notice in the text on the screen, the stream is going to be lasting until... Man, my cat is going nuts over here. Hey, shut up. Good gravy. The stream is going to be lasting until 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, which is 5 minutes from now. The last time we did this, I went to midnight and I was exhausted and couldn't really function properly. And I think that our adventure was suffering as a result. So we're going to do a hard stop in 4 minutes now. So you are a little late. Sorry, man. Maybe next time I can start this. I think that you get out of work a little later, or you might be over in like California or something like that. So we might try to do the stream a little bit later to accommodate you, so that you can catch it next time. We'll see. I don't know. 8 o'clock is a good time for me Eastern, because it just allows me to go to bed by 10 or 11 or something like that. So we'll see. Yeah, the cat clearly wants to be on a stream for sure. All right. I think so. Next time, guys, I'm going to start wrapping it up here. Next time, we have a few things that we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing, we got to create the trap, and we're going to create the loot, and we're going to create a map. I think we're getting pretty close to having this thing done, though, so I'm very excited about that. If you guys, I don't know when the next stream is going to be, I'll be honest with you. I was looking at my schedule earlier today, and I'm not quite sure when I'll be able to make that happen. It'll probably be at least a couple weeks from now. I might be able to do one 2 weeks from now, but we'll see. I will have an announcement. I usually put little notifications in the comments on my videos when I'm going to have another stream. And if you're over on my Discord server, there's a link to my Discord server down in the description below. If you join us over there, I almost always will put an announcement on my Discord server when we're going to have a live stream. So that's the best way to get news, I think, on when the live stream is going to be. So there you go. We're going to wrap it up here. West Coast is so broke, says four Elemental. Oh, Fierce says that he's on the East Coast. He just works late most days, so I'm off and up at night. Okay, that's cool, dude. All right, guys, so I think we're going to wrap it up. I got just a couple minutes left. Hard stop at 10, so I hope to see you guys next time, and we will finish this bad boy out. What I will do for you is I will save this, and I will update it in the link down in the description so you guys can access this. But I think we're getting very, very close to this. We got so little left to do, so that's pretty encouraging. I like that, and I think this is going to be pretty cool. I will be running this at my group next week and the week after that, so it'll be fun. So there we go. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to cut out now. This has been lots of fun. Thank you for all the ideas and stuff. I think we made really good progress tonight. So until next time, let's play D&D. And now I have to stop the stream. I got to push stop stream.